A national solar provider is a company that installs solar panels in various states and locations. These companies are the ones you usually hear about when you think about solar panels. They have massive marketing efforts and an enormous network of customers. On the other hand, local solar panel companies usually only serve a specific area or state. These companies typically have crucial local expertise and building code knowledge. So, though it may sound counterintuitive to choose a smaller solar company, local installers have many key benefits that make them much more suitable for local construction projects.
The term probiotics refers to microorganisms that confer health benefits to hosts when administered in adequate amounts. A true probiotic should preferably be of human origin, safe, and free of vectors that are able to transfer resistance to antibiotics and of pathogenicity or toxicity factors. In addition, a probiotic should have great capacity to survive under intestinal conditions, acidic pH, enzymes, biliary salts, etc. Moreover, a probiotic should exhibit antagonism against pathogens and stimulation of the immune system and, ultimately, must have demonstrable beneficial effects on the host. Finally, maintenance of the activity, viability, and growth efficacy of the probiotic upon technologic treatment should be demonstrated.
Alcohol represents a leading cause of liver disease worldwide. Alcohol-associated liver disease, ALD, comprises several forms ranging from relatively mild and reversible steatosis, fatty liver, and alcoholic hepatitis, to fibrosis and finally cirrhosis and hepatic failure. The severity of alcoholic hepatitis can range from mild to severe and can be superimposed on chronic liver disease. Alcohol abstinence is the cornerstone in the treatment of ALD, yet these patients have less access to psychosocial, behavioral and/or pharmacological treatments for alcohol use disorder, ALD. Indeed, such treatments help patients, including those with ALD, in reducing or stopping drinking. To this end, it is important to educate physicians in addiction medicine, so that treatments for ALD can be implemented in clinical practice, ideally as part of multidisciplinary teams.
%50 of the maintenance cost is reduced when you add floor protectors to any part of the furniture which comes in contact with the floor. They also come in various types, sizes, and shapes in order to fit into different kinds of floor materials and furniture legs. The floor protectors are also available for special kinds of furniture like wobble chairs, vending machine, caster wheel office chair and music stands. But in order to protect well, you should always look out for floor protectors that are made out of reinforced felt pads, mechanical fastening method, commercial grade pressure sensitive adhesive, etc. In order to ensure that the floor protectors don't fall out before they wear out, mechanical fastening is the best method because it uses a snap-in-place or sleeves system.
A shark's eye is similar to the eye of other vertebrates, with many parts that we'd recognize: a lens, a retina, an iris and a cornea. Shark eyes have duplex retinas, or retinas containing both rod and cone cells. Rods enable the shark to see light and darkness, while cones allow for the detection of color. Scientists are still unsure how sharks interpret colors. Unlike humans, shark eyes are equipped with a layer of mirrored crystals located behind the retina. This provides a means for light to be detected a second time. Light is defocused, acuity reduced and sensitivity increases. Such an adaptation enables sharks to see even in low light and dark or murky water, and up to 10 times greater than humans in clear water.
Currently, 1 trillion to 1.2 trillion insects are raised on farms annually for food and animal feed. There are currently between 79 billion and 94 billion insects alive on farms globally on an average day. While it is unclear what welfare reforms might best improve the lives of insects on farms, it seems possible that standardized training on best practices, and potentially slaughter reform are promising ways to improve insect welfare on farms. The countries that farm the most insects in the world are Thailand, France, South Africa, China, Canada, and the United States. The industry is rapidly growing. Millions of dollars have been invested into startups that are working to industrialize the industry, especially to produce insect alternatives to animal feed and fish meal. This also means that the scale could increase by 1 or more orders of magnitude in the near future.
The focus on renewable energy resources has risen considerably over the years. With the condition of the environment worsening day by day due to the excessive utilization of fossil fuels for energy generation, governments of different countries are now paying attention to renewable energy resources. Moreover, their population across the globe has been increasing at a rapid pace, and the declining rate of fossil fuels has made them insufficient to cater to the energy needs of people after a few years. Ascribed to these factors, governments, as well as the general public, are trying to increase the share of energy generated through eco-friendly sources. One such renewable energy type is solar energy, which is considered to be the cleanest of all. Because of the reduction in the prices of solar panels, their adoption has increased considerably in both residential and commercial applications. Solar PV capacity additions surged again by almost 14% in 2019. Reaching a record of 109 GW of newly installed capacity globally, despite Chinese PV additions declining by almost a third, as annual installations elsewhere grew by 50% last year, says the International Energy Agency, IEA.
The islands of Hawaii owe their entire existence to volcanic activity. Each island was formed by volcanism over a hotspot, specifically the Hawaiian hotspot. A volcanic hotspot is exactly what it sounds like, a place where the Earth's mantle is unusually hot, causing magma to rise. This superhot magma sometimes pierces the Earth's crust, forming a volcano. As the Pacific tectonic plate, on which Hawaii sits, moves northwestward over the hotspot, new islands form. Therefore the southernmost islands are younger, geologically speaking, than the northern ones.
Land degradation is the result of a number of largely human-induced factors, such as poor soil and water management practices, deforestation, overgrazing, improper crop rotation and unsustainable land use. In turn, these can significantly affect soil fertility, resulting in diminished crop yields and food insecurity. Traditional methods of modeling and monitoring soil erosion usually require a large number of parameters and many years of taking measurements. However, over the past decade, nuclear technologies and isotopic techniques have been introduced, which can effectively assess the soil and water status of an area, as well as identifying hot spots of land degradation.
A transcontinental region including Western Asia and Egypt forms the Middle East region. In the past few years, the region has been struggling with a drastic increase in temperature levels. Records are being broken with each passing year. In 2016, the Mitraba meteorological station in Kuwait touched a record temperature of 53.9 degrees Celsius. The veracity of this claim has been challenged by many, though it does not change the fact that the region is likely to become highly uninhabitable in years to come. As per a report published by NASA, of the past 900 years, the drought faced by the region in the last 10 years has been the worst. As the global average temperature continues to rise by 0.17 degrees Celsius each year, the repercussions of climate change will only worsen for the planet.
The World Bank's research on urban geography has found that the 3 Ds, higher density, shorter distance, and fewer divisions, that is, better market integration, are essential for economic development. From an urban resilience point of view, the potential risks of public health emergencies associated with the 3 Ds need to be managed carefully, because as urbanization continues, we will be living in a world where people are even closer to each other than before, both spatially and economically. Over time, ensuring well-designed institutions, high-quality infrastructure, and effective interventions, for example, social distancing and lockdown to flatten the curve of disease transmission, will be the ingredients to making cities stronger against infectious diseases.
Ornithology is one of the few scientific fields in which non-professionals make substantial contributions. Much research is carried out at universities and museums, which house and maintain the collections of bird skins, skeletons, and preserved specimens upon which most taxonomists and anatomists depend. Field research, on the other hand, is conducted by both professionals and amateurs, the latter providing valuable information on behavior, ecology, distribution, and migration.
Checking your body's temperature with a thermometer is an easy way to see if a fever is present. A fever, which is a rise in the body's temperature, is usually caused by an infection. Though fevers can be uncomfortable, they are a sign that the body is fighting off infection. There are many different types of thermometers you can use to measure temperature. When using any kind of thermometer, make sure you read and follow the instructions that come with the thermometer. If your thermometer uses batteries, check them. You might notice that weak batteries giving consistent readings.
Water is a unique substance, because it can naturally renew and cleanse itself, by allowing pollutants to settle out, through the process of sedimentation, or breakdown, or by diluting the pollutants to a point where they are not in harmful concentrations. However, this natural process takes time, and is difficult when excessive quantities of harmful contaminants are added to the water. And humans are using more and more materials that are polluting the water sources that we drink from. In 9 of the last 10 years, large blue-green algae blooms have appeared on the northern part of Lake Winnipeg. These are caused by excess phosphorus in the water. Fertilizer use is 15 times higher today than it was in 1945. Beach closures are becoming increasingly common. The list of pollutants is long and the signs of water pollution surround us, but the point is this: we are dumping contaminants into the small portion of water on the planet that is fit for drinking.
Italian astronomer and natural philosopher Galileo Galilei made progress in understanding natural motion and simple accelerated motion for earthly objects. He realized that bodies that are uninfluenced by forces continue indefinitely to move, and that force is necessary to change motion, not to maintain constant motion. In studying how objects fall toward Earth, Galileo discovered that the motion is one of constant acceleration. He demonstrated that the distance a falling body travels from rest in this way varies as the square of the time. As noted above, the acceleration due to gravity at the surface of Earth is about 9.8 meters per second. Galileo was also the first to show by experiment that bodies fall with the same acceleration whatever their composition, the weak principle of equivalence.
Carbohydrates are one of 3 macronutrients, along with proteins and fats, that your body requires daily. There are 3 main types of carbohydrates: starches, fiber, and sugars. Starches are often referred to as complex carbohydrates. They are found in grains, legumes, and starchy vegetables like potatoes and corn. Sugars are known as simple carbohydrates. There are natural sugars in vegetables, fruits, milk, and honey. Added sugars are found in processed foods, syrups, sugary drinks, and sweets. Carbohydrates are your body's main source of energy. They help fuel your brain, kidneys, heart muscles, and central nervous system.
Bullocks are the backbone of Indian agriculture. Despite a lot of advancements in the use of mechanical power in Indian agricultural operations, the Indian farmer, especially in rural areas, still depend upon bullocks for various agricultural operations. The bullocks are saving a lot on fuel, which is a necessary input for using mechanical power like tractors, combine harvesters, etc. Pack animals like camels, horses, donkeys, ponies, mules, etc. are being extensively used to transport goods in different parts of the country in addition to bullocks. In situations like hilly terrains, mules and ponies serve as the only alternative to transport goods. Similarly, the army has to depend upon these animals to transport various items in high areas of high altitude.
There are 3 stages in the life cycle of the cheetah: cub, birth to 18 months, adolescence, 18 to 24 months, and adult life, 24 months and on. The gestation, pregnancy, period for the cheetah is 93 days, and litters range in size from 1 or 2 up to 6 cubs. The occasional litter of 8 cubs has been recorded, but it is rare. Cub mortality is higher in protected areas like national parks and wildlife reserves, where proximity to large predators is greater than in non-protected areas. In such areas, the cheetah cub mortality can be as high as 90%.
Lacking brains, blood, or even hearts, jellyfish are pretty simple critters. They are composed of 3 layers: an outer layer, called the epidermis, a middle layer made of a thick, elastic, jelly-like substance called mesoglea, and an inner layer, called the gastrodermis. An elementary nervous system, or nerve net, allows jellyfish to smell, detect light, and respond to other stimuli. The simple digestive cavity of a jellyfish acts as both its stomach and intestine, with one opening for both the mouth and the anus. Jellyfish have the ability to sting with their tentacles. While the severity of stings varies, in humans, most jellyfish stings result only in minor discomfort.
Hormones are long-distance chemical signals released by endocrine cells, like the cells of your pituitary gland. They control specific physiological processes, such as growth, development, metabolism, and reproduction. While some hormones are steroid-based, others are proteins. These protein-based hormones are commonly called peptide hormones. For example, insulin is an important peptide hormone that helps regulate blood glucose levels. When blood glucose rises, for instance, after you eat a meal, specialized cells in the pancreas release insulin. The insulin binds to cells in the liver and other parts of the body, causing them to take up the glucose. This process helps return blood sugar to its normal, resting level.
Shoes may not make the man, but having the right shoes does make all the difference in foot health. Many common conditions like flat feet and over or underpronation, Resting weight on the inside or outside of the heel while walking can be addressed with the right shoes. According to the American Podiatric Medical Association, APMA, proper footwear can even improve your balance and help to prevent falls. You should select roomy, well-cushioned shoes without large heels or narrow toe boxes. Your toes shouldn't feel cramped. When shopping for a new pair of shoes, be sure to bring or wear the type of socks you plan on wearing with your new shoes for a perfect fit. When you're trying your new shoes on, they should feel comfortable and supportive right away according to the APMA. If they aren't comfortable in the store, they won't feel any better when you get home, and breaking them in isn't a viable solution.
World War I, also known as the Great War, began in 1914 after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. His murder catapulted into a war across Europe that lasted until 1918. During the conflict, Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria and the Ottoman Empire, the Central Powers, fought against Great Britain, France, Russia, Italy, Romania, Japan and the United States, the Allied powers. Thanks to new military technologies and the horrors of trench warfare, World War I saw unprecedented levels of carnage and destruction. By the time the war was over and the Allied powers claimed victory, more than 16 million people, soldiers and civilians alike, were dead.
Much of the current debates on agricultural biotechnology have focused on the potential risks of GM, genetically modified, crops for human health. Some of the health risks pertinent to unapproved GMFs include antibiotic resistance, allergenicity, nutritional changes and the formation of toxins. To address the possible drawbacks of biotechnology application in engineered foods, we point out some of the problems stemming out from genetic modification techniques.
General anesthesia is, essentially, a medically induced coma, not sleep. Drugs render a patient unresponsive and unconscious. They are normally administered intravenously, IV, or inhaled. Under general anesthesia, the patient is unable to feel pain and may also have amnesia. The drugs will be administered by an anesthesiologist or nurse anesthetist, a specially trained doctor or nurse who will also monitor a patient's vital signs and rate of breathing during the procedure. General anesthetics have been widely used in surgery since 1842, when Crawford Long administered ethyl ether to a patient and performed the first painless operation.
Carbonado, commonly known as black diamond, is one of the toughest forms of natural diamond. It is an impure form of polycrystalline diamond consisting of diamond, graphite, and amorphous carbon. Carbonado diamonds are typically pea-sized or larger porous aggregates of many tiny black crystals. The most characteristic carbonados have been found only in the Central African Republic and in Brazil, in neither place associated with gimbalite. the source of typical gent diamonds. Lead isotope analyses have been interpreted as documenting crystallization of carbonados about 3 billion years ago. The carbonados are found in younger sedimentary rocks,